Just check it out for yourself. Follow me.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Bearding Without Borders. I hope everyone is having a great week. It's been kind of a wild couple weeks. I know that I didn't run last week, and I do apologize. We were going through some technical difficulties with the internet here at the house, and then on top of that, we were getting ready for the charity bowling bash that was going on up in Indiana over the weekend, which was a great time. We actually were part of helping raise over $5,300 for medical mutts doing the charity bowling. And as you guys have seen, Aaron had a wonderful picture of looking like a pro bowler out there. He was very proud of that picture. I think even they showed it on Talking Beards as well. So it was a great time, and we had a lot of fun with just being able to hang out and cut up. Now, this week though, we are in, and I know that they already had them on. They had on Sean Glander and whatnot last week, but we are here to talk, of course, about Beard on the Rocks Part 5, presented by Honest Amish. And I have got a wonderful guest lined up for us, the Mr. Big Jake Johnson. He's come in here to do a little bit of talking and hang out tonight. So let me go ahead and bring him on, and he's gonna drop our fun beard fact. What's up, Jake?
What's going on? How's it going?
Oh man, you know what? It's definitely going.
Yeah.
The weather out here has been miserable the last couple of days, so I'm hoping to get a little bit some of that West Coast sunshine out here. Even though you're up in Washington,
well, you can take all the sunshine you want. It's been over 100 here for the last few days, so
I don't even think about that when it comes to like being out west. I don't think about you guys hitting over 100 degrees out there.
Oh yeah. We have our areas that it gets super hot. Yeah, but even here in Washington, you know, I tell people all the time when I travel and stuff, you know, I'm from Washington. Oh, where it rains all the time. No, that's only a small portion of the state. The state's actually pretty big, and we live in the desert. So,
so I've been to Washington. Yeah. I've been to Washington once. I love the state itself, like just because of the different ranges. Couldn't live in Seattle if you couldn't pay me to live in Seattle.
No, not a chance. No.
Now, my favorite part was out closer to like the Idaho border, like Redding and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Out that way. I thought that was pretty cool out there. Big valleys and whatnot.
Yep. No, I'm probably only about 50 miles from the Idaho border. I live down in the southeastern corner, so I'm about 10 miles from the Oregon border and 50 miles from the Idaho border. So it's right on the edge of the desert, right where you start getting into the mountains a little bit.
What's up, Smalley? You got Mr. Don Wayne popping in here.
What up, Postman?
That brick wall of a beard he's got.
Oh, it's massive. It is massive.
He kills me, man. Every time I see him, I'm just like, man, that thing is just a monster.
It is.
But we're bringing back the fun beard fact, and I've actually I'm gonna let Jake do the fun beard fact this week, guys. He got on, did a mad scramble, and found something.
I did. So, fun beard fact: a beard will actually protect you from jellyfish.
Okay, now that one I haven't seen, so that's a random one. I did not expect that.
Yeah. So they can't. It creates a barrier around your skin. So if you ever get stung by a jellyfish, you should have had a beard.
Should have had a beard. Absolutely. You should attack it with your beard too. Just
you should.
You grow it out as big as Postman's and just beat the jellyfish to death with the beard.
There you go.
Mr. Yukon, how are you, sir?
How you doing, Yukon?
That's one of my favorite people in this community.
He is an amazing human.
You ever seen him drunk?
Yes, I went to Mom
Fest. He likes telling the story about me getting him hammered on the Danger Flask in Nashville last year.
Oh yeah.
So don't worry, Yukon, I'll have it in Nashville with me again. Actually, I got Danger Flask 2.0 because I think Miss Weta broke the seal on mine down at UMatter in January on the first Danger Flask. So, but
you got to back up.
Gotta have a backup. Gotta have a backup. It's always pertinent to have one ready to go. So I'm glad that you were able to come on tonight. I know Glander had his had other obligations. His I guess it's his dart league, I think.
No, cornhole.
Cornhole, that's what it is. Yeah, he's got the whole cornhole thing going on.
Big time cornhole player there.
But we are here, of course, to talk about Beards on the Rocks. And from what I've seen and been able to try to keep up with, it looks like it's going to be a wild time. I've always heard good things about this comp and I've never been able to make it myself just because, it is across the country.
Yeah, that makes it a little difficult to just run down the street when it's 2,600 miles away. But
I mean,
make the trip.
I mean, Texas is only 900, so I don't know how far it is.
Yeah, you're gonna add. Well, it might not be 2,600, but it's a ways from you. That's for sure. Tucked up here in the Northwest, but yeah, no, Beards on the Rocks is a great time. It is, it's a party from Friday afternoon when people start rolling into town up until Sunday morning after brunch when people start rolling out. So it's a great time. It's a great spot. The bar we have now that we do it at is it's got a lot of space for a lot of different activities. And last year when we were doing it, it actually coincided with their anniversary party. So not only did we have all the Beard people there, we had all of the Normans shipwrecked or ship-faced saloon people there, and it was just a huge party. So, but the people that we do the comp for, they're always super fun. They're there, they're supporting us too. So,
and that's for the youth ranch, right?
Yeah, the 2BU youth ranch.
2BU.
So they have a program there where they take underprivileged and at-risk youth and kind of give them they give them chores and they give them a purpose, and they teach them faith and they teach them responsibility, and building a better human is their mission. So
100%. So has that always been the charity that you guys work with, or the organization?
For the last 3 years it is.
Okay. So you've been pretty much a part of all of the Beards on the Rocks. Is that correct?
Most of them, yeah.
So for the ones that don't know you, Jake, because out here on the East Coast, it's I know that you've been around a ways and you've been definitely in the community, but give them a little backstory. Let's hear your story, because you've got a pretty cool one too as well.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Jake. My nickname is State Farm. I started in the bearding community right around 2017 when I saw a post in a local Facebook that said, hey, do you have a beard and do you want to help your community? If you said yes, show up at this address and help us raise money for hospice friends. So I showed up and I met Dennis Morgan for the second time. I didn't know it was the same guy that I'd sold sunglasses to over Facebook Marketplace 3 years prior. But him and I became friends, and we grew the club together. We grew that chapter of the Bearded Sinners together, and then I moved into right around 2020. I joined Beard Mob and came in as the captain of Washington, and we've just been trying to chug along ever since. I've traveled all over, from Pennsylvania to do Monsters Ball. Was down in Florida for a few comps, been to Knoxville a couple times for comps. Helped start the You Matter comp down in Texas. I was one of the guys that shaved their mustaches off, for a rather large donation to that organization. Yeah.
So how did you feel about shaving off your mustache for charity? I mean, obviously you did it because it was for a good cause.
Yeah.
But how weird was it for you?
It was pretty weird because I've had a full beard since 2014. So of varying lengths. And it was kind of my that chicken wing. I'll be back in there. I know I gotta catch up with you guys. But yeah, shaving the mustache off was it was bittersweet because I knew why I was doing it was for a great cause. But also I never liked the look of a whaler on other people, so I didn't know if I would like it on me. And on Chicken Bread, it works. On on Jägerbomb, who just posted, it works. It just works for them. I didn't know if it would work for me, but it did. I kept it for over a year just to roll with it. But it was definitely a bittersweet moment when sitting down at Mobfest down at Boo and Phyllis's to hear that trimmer be going through the mustache and feeling like my lip physically get lighter.
But I mean, at least you could eat soup then. That's the biggest thing.
Oh, one of the first things I did was go get an ice cream cone.
Right?
Oh, that almost made it worth it right there was the ice cream cone and not having to worry about sucking it out of the mustache or holding the mustache up to get it in there. But yeah, that almost made it.
Yeah, that's always been that's one of the things I me and Chris Wilson, we talk about it all the time. And yeah, that's one of the things that I put up is like, hey, I was like, I pick on him for being a whaler, and he's like, well, at least I can eat soup.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? That's just me. I can eat soup. I just need like a half a roll of paper towels.
Yep, exactly. I mean, you can eat anything with, it's just how much maintenance do you want to do during your meal? How much maintenance do you want to do after your meal? You make choices, you make sacrifices. So,
when you're in a restaurant and you get messy, like you're like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yep.
You just got food all in your beer.
Mm-hmm. I try and be very, very careful because people around here are kind of judgy of the beard. They give me a certain look, so I try and keep it pretty clean, especially when I'm eating. Like I don't want to be one of those guys that is walking around with a little popcorn or a little drip from some barbecue sauce or something. Although if I did drip barbecue sauce, my beard is the right color for barbecue sauce, so it's
right,
not as visible.
So I remember first comp that I ever really attended was Beards Behind Bars Part 2. Beards of the Old Northwest put on up in Ohio, and I had never seen it was foreign to me at the time, but I had never seen so many people eat pizza with a fork and knife in one place.
Yep.
Big burly bearded guys that look like they're just grabbing handfuls, and they
cutting it up into little bite-sized pieces, so you can't mess up the beard.
And I was like, this is weird. And then I realized why. I was like, oh, you want to make sure you keep it clean. And so I started doing it too. And I was like, this is a foreign thing for me. But
yeah,
I 100% get it now. I'm 6 years in, and I'm like, oh, okay, like it makes more sense now. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I remember my first comp. It was oh boy. It was Spokane. It was epic in Spokane. And I did too. I did too. Luckily there was enough alcohol in the system that it blocked the tears, but I was definitely crying on the inside.
That's pseudo cool breeze.
Yeah.
My wife won't let me cut the mustache.
No.
That's my best feature. So, but maybe I'll shave the beard. Maybe she'll let the beard go for charity at some point.
There you go.
I doubt it. Then I'm gonna have to go into. Then I'd end up in the same category with old chicken wing.
Yes, you would.
that short beard. He barely has a beard, it's just mainly mustache.
Oh, he is all mustache.
Yeah.
I mean, that man is 5 feet tall with a 4-foot mustache.
Right? 100%.
He is. Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to this year with Beards on the Rocks?
What am I looking forward to? What are we looking forward to? Raising more money. We brought in, a little more help from the Spokane Beard Mustache Club. They're a little more involved this year. They volunteered because Sean has been a part of Spokane, since before he was in Mob. But this year they've really stepped up and helped out. So we're going to draw from their crowd. Talking Beers, the club has, stepped up, and they're, one of the presenters of the event, as well as, Beard Mob of Washington. So we're hitting it with a 3-headed, attack, just so we can raise more money for 2BU.
100%.
Having a good time and putting, Beards on the Rocks on the map as far as one of the, comps throughout the year that people talk about, that people want to go to, that people plan, a year in advance. Like you and I were talking before the show about, you're already planning yours.
Yeah.
We want to make Spokane, we want to make Beards on the Rocks like that comp, for the West Coast, that people are like, all right, we know it's going to be, last part of July, first part of August. We gotta make sure we're at that one.
So, like, I will tell you from where we are, especially, and like, there's a few people in this chat that can, or in the thread that can then vouch, is right around this time of the year is when, like, the tri-state area, it really starts picking up here. So it makes it hard to get out there.
Right.
But I've been hearing about California and West Coast comps for the last 2 or 3 years. Like, there's like the one that goes on in, like, I think Modesto. I know Crystal Ann and them, they do it pretty big down there. Fabs was telling me all sorts of different comps that goes on out there in the West.
There's quite a few over here on the West Coast between Reno and Vegas and all the California comps. And there's, Portland does their comp. There's actually quite a few. It used to be a little bit bigger. The circuit used to be, there used to be a couple in Utah, and I think one of the groups there in Utah folded recently, so that one's going to be out. But there's a nice little circuit between, over here on the West Coast. So
yeah, I will say that, and Chad's saying that your volume kind of fluctuates.
All right,
you pull your mic a little bit closer.
Yeah. Probably help if I didn't rock back too.
I do it too. I have a bad habit.
Yeah.
So, and I'm using the computer microphone right now. So I haven't found a microphone that I'm set on yet.
Yeah.
I've been talking about that for a little while, and I just hadn't picked up one yet. But the computer microphone works pretty well.
I mean, you sound pretty good to me. I got the Yeti. One of the Yetis. So
I had the Snowball for a long time.
Yeah.
And I did not. I used it on the first podcast I ran, and I hated it.
Yeah.
But now I've upgraded computers, and now I've been looking at a new one. So, but you have, I mean, like, you've got all this stuff for work and whatnot too. So, I mean, sure.
I use some of it for work, and I used to have a podcast. I ran a few episodes of a podcast, so I got a little bit of equipment left from that. I do miss my microphones that I had when I was doing the podcast, but I can't justify spending that amount of money on a microphone to not have a podcast anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
What was the name of your podcast?
Ramblin' Beard.
Okay. So why'd you stop doing it?
I got too busy. Between bearding and my work schedule at the time, I was working Tuesday. I had Monday, Tuesday off. So I was working Wednesday through Sunday. So trying to schedule time for guests, and I was working like 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. So trying to schedule a time to interview people was an absolute nightmare. So I called it. I'll probably get back into it at some point. I miss talking. So
maybe we could
hey, let's talk. Let's talk.
Yeah. So I will say that going from, just being on that side, I understand every last bit of that plight, trying to find guests and whatnot. And I had somebody else lined up for this week and things kind of fell through. And so I was like, Beers on the Rocks is coming up. I was like, I really do need to get a piece in here. So I was glad that we were able to make the connect. It's funny because we were talking about this before the show. Like, we haven't figured out how we hadn't connected yet. Like,
yeah, it's insane.
Like I was like, Sean was like, well, I can't do it. And he's like, but Jake can come on. And I was like, cool. I was like, well, can you care to make introductions? He's like, yeah, I got you. And I was like, I kept looking. I was like, I know I've seen him on Instagram. I was like, how the hell do I not know this cat? Yeah. So I'm glad that we finally got to meet up, get to connect.
Absolutely. No, it's yeah. I started looking at your, going through your profile and stuff, and I just like, how have we not run into each other at a comp? Like, you've been doing it a while, I've been doing it a while. I've come to, East Coast, Midwest comps, and maybe we have.
It's very possible. Mr. Shields. How are
you? Hello, Mr. Shields. How are you, sir?
That's another one that I want to get to know him better. He seems like a really cool guy.
He is beyond a cool guy. Mr. Jonathan Shields is the epitome of what I want to be when I grow up.
Right.
Absolutely one of the greatest humans I think I've ever met in my entire life. Him and Tanya. They're just absolutely phenomenal people.
I got to meet them briefly at You Matter this year, and I was like, I really want to get to know him a little bit better, because I've heard Shannon and Tish and Aaron and Natalie and everybody talk about Jonathan Shields, and it's like Jonathan, and I was like, I want to get to know him better. I was like, that's the whole thing, is like, I want to get to know people out west a little bit more,
right?
And I've been able to have certain conversations with certain people, and I was like, I think that's one of the things I wanted to focus on next year, is I want to be able to make it out further and talk with people that I haven't had a chance to talk to. So he's on my list for sure.
He should be on everybody's list.
100%. That's why.
Yeah, I did miss You Matter. I did. I was sad for weeks.
I am old.
You are, don't let him fool you. Don't let him fool you.
I'm sure between the friends that we have, the mutual friends we have, we can pull you out, John. We'll find you.
I'll just pick him up.
That works. I'm good with that.
I'll just pick him up.
So that's another thing, is you are you're a bit of a gym rat. Is that?
I mean, a little bit. I go 4 or 5 times a week. I try anyway.
That's. I mean, you can go amateur at that point. So
it's kind of a mild obsession of mine to get as strong as I possibly can.
So is it more about just working out, or are you gearing up to compete, or?
Little of both, actually. The gym I work out at, they're putting on a strongman competition here in town, and the owner basically strong-armed me into competing.
No pun
yeah, no pun intended there. No, I started doing it for my mental health. It's a great stress reliever. It's a great way to, increase your endorphins. It's a great way to just get out every bit of angst and anger throughout the day. I mean, you can have, one of the worst days ever and go to the gym and, just throw the iron around and take it out on the weights, and they're not gonna, you're not gonna hurt the weights. So yeah, it started out as a stress reliever and has kind of built into a obsession, which is now turned into, I'm gonna start competing in strongman competitions, I think.
Oh man, we really I me and you are gonna get along great. So yeah. I understand that I'm not doing the gym as many days a week as you are. Truthfully, I've actually slacked off. I'm trying to get back to it, but that's one of the things I want to do is compete in strongman. Yeah. So, what's your favorite event that you're looking forward to the most?
The one at the comp coming up that I'm looking forward to is probably the Farmer's Carry. So,
have you been training on it?
Oh yeah.
Yep. What's your max out right now?
We're going for max distance. So I got, let's see, I picked up 245 the other day in each hand and walked 30 feet down and 30 feet back.
Ooh, that's nice. I think the most I've ever been able to do is 185 in each hand for about 25 feet. So I'm not too far behind you, but
no, you'll get there.
We have to talk about this more for sure once we go off the air. So,
yeah. And probably my biggest feat is I want to be able to strict axle press my body weight.
How much you weigh?
About 250.
Oof.
The other day I hit a strict press 225 for 3. So I mathematically I'm about 247 at my max. So mathematically. So I think given the right warm up and the right motivation while I'm at the gym, I think I can
strict press, man, that's a monster. For anybody that's never tried to do a strict axle press, the bar is, I would say, probably width wise, it's twice the normal size of a regular, bench press bar.
Yeah, it's bigger than a baseball. The one that I use. It's bigger than a baseball round.
So you're probably, the bar is designed to not allow your hands to wrap fully around it, which is what makes it even more complicated. So then when you're going into a strict press, it's all static basically all the way through. And that is
you can't flex your legs more than about 10 degrees.
Yep. It is.
It is all straight brute, shoulder, upper chest, triceps. Yeah, that's my baby right now. That's my goal.
I'm trying to catch up on some of these comments here. Let's see, I'm back in the gym. I want to concentrate on body weight for a while. Yukon wins. I can carry a bucket of chicken in one hand and a gallon of sweet tea about 20 feet.
Hey, if you're carrying it any further than that chicken wing or Yukon, your chicken's gonna get cold. So
absolutely, 100%.
I mean,
that's a timed event right there.
It is. The faster you can get to the end of that walk, the better.
Absolutely. So then, and we'll get back to beer comps. Now you got me talking about one of my other hobbies and passions now. So like I'm super excited for this.
All right.
Are you doing any dietary constrictions like going into this competition or
no
protein?
No, I'm cutting the carbs a little bit, but that's more just for personal reasons. I want to slim down a little bit, but as far as dietary restrictions going into the comp, no, I'm not. Am I upping my protein? Absolutely. I'm trying to add, let my muscles recover from those workouts. So
chicken and rice.
Yeah. Chicken, broccoli, cauliflower rice. I eat a lot of poultry. Between turkey and chicken. That's probably 75% of my protein is poultry.
I have a turkey. It's very weird for me when it comes to turkey. I have to be like chicken. I can do chicken just about every day of the week because chicken is one of those meats that's just versatile. You can change the marinade on it and completely get a whole different type of meal out of it. So cauliflower rice is something I'm definitely trying out now. So
I mean, I make a pretty mean fried cauliflower rice. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
gonna hold you
rivals it. Hey, okay, do it. It rivals store-bought or at the restaurant. Don't worry, chicken wing. You ain't got enough meat on your bones to anyone want to eat.
Good Lord.
It rivals restaurants. So.
Yeah.
See, look, Natalie's preparing for strongman too.
Right, 100%. Come on, Chicken Wing. You're the only one that's being the naysayer here talking about this. Like either chicken or ground turkey.
Yep.
Like when we went in, so I was over, I still am, but I was at one time, I was 380 pounds. So I was close to 400 pounds. This was right towards the beginning of COVID, and I started getting back into the gym, eating a bit healthier, and I'm down to, I fluctuate between 3 and 310 now. So I lost almost 100 pounds in that time frame. But we did a lot of chicken and ground turkey. Ground turkey is a weird one for me. I still have a bit of a hard time with ground turkey. But
I can see that. I can see that. It definitely has a texture, a different texture to it.
Well, we were making it into meatloaf at one time, doing the ground turkey meatloaf.
That's rough.
It wasn't bad. I couldn't eat a lot of it in one sitting, but it wasn't bad. I've had worse things on diets. So
I would definitely agree with that.
But no, man, that's exciting though. Getting ready to do your first strongman. How old are you?
Yesterday I just turned 42.
I didn't really. Okay, so you just turned 42. See, so now you're at the Hitchhiker's Guide life. Like that meaning of life right there. So
pretty much, yeah. I think this competition's probably my, my midlife crisis. I'm not gonna go out and buy a convertible. So
I'm 36 and I'm hitting that stride too. So I'm with you on that one, brother. Yeah. So, and I am very proud of you, Chicken Wing.
Yes, that is, sir. I want to commend you on that from the bottom of my heart.
100%. So, man, I think we're gonna end up being on here like after the show goes off and just be talking for a few minutes. And
definitely.
Like I got some ideas now. We're gonna have to start brainstorming.
All right. Bring it. All about new ideas.
So one of the things that we talked about before we went live, and I do want to bring it up here because it's gonna, this is actually gonna be kind of a theme going forward over the, for the rest of the series, the rest of the show, not just tonight, but going forward in general, is the difference in cultures from East Coast, West Coast, and even going into talking about clubs. We can talk about cultures between the different clubs, and that's something that I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think I'm gonna turn this into a bit of a series because I think that the conversation about the different areas and how they run is a really good topic that people may not realize is so much different. So for us, and you've been all over the country doing this, so you've seen the differences, from East Coast to West Coast, Central Texas, stuff like that. What's been one of the biggest differences that you've noticed in your travels?
Probably the overall feel of the comps themselves. West Coast, it really feels like just kind of a out of control ragtag party most of the time. It's chaos. In the Midwest, it's pageantry. It's the show. It's and then the East Coast, it is the production of it. People on the East Coast have been doing it longer. They've got it. They've got it down to a science. The ones that do it well got it down to a science, and the production value of those comps that are the ones that have been around for a while, it's definitely it's at a higher level, I think, or they just have a higher standard over there. So it's
I'll mess up my reputation. East Coast does it the best. I will say, I've had the pleasure of, because I organized and ran my first competition this year in May, and I had the luck and the pleasure of having advice from a lot of a lot of old school OGs in the community that were able to help, between like Taxi Phil, Aaron, and Natalie, just to name a few, that were able to not only kind of show me how they did it from, going out and helping at these comps, then to see taking their advice and what works at one place and trying to implement it there. And, I definitely will say I love the way we do it out here when it comes to working everything. And like you said, it's down to a science.
Yeah.
We figured out how long it's going to take us to run a competition. As long as nothing goes off the rails, which, just for the record, if you've never run a competition, everything goes off the rails at least once.
That's why they call it beard time. The comp starts at 7. No. You're going to start 7:15, 7:20 on the dot.
Or a little early like I did. Like,
my
comp was supposed to run from like 3 to 6. Or no, actually I ended up running in beard time. So I was supposed to go from like 3 to 6, and I ended up getting started between 3:15 and 3:30. And then we had to kind of get that narrowed down. Luckily it worked out for the best, but and Natalie's right. We're always learning something new at comps, and that's definitely it's a good way to be.
Yeah. Natalie and Aaron are probably two of the most that I've learned, almost everything I know about running a comp from.
Well, collectively, they have like 500 years experience in running comps.
At least, we're getting close to a century of, or not a century, 1,000 years of knowledge between the two of them. And the greatest asset that they have is their willingness to teach.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of comps that you'll go to and you'll talk to people and they don't want to tell you what they did or why they did that. Or Natalie and Aaron they're open books if you just ask them the right questions. So they are very much people who have shaped how our comps run. Because Sean and Aaron are really good friends. So
I think they've shaped how everybody's comps run. Like,
you're probably not wrong, especially now that Aaron is with Honest Amish and able to. There you go. That's what it's all about.
And that's the one thing that I absolutely, one of the many things that I absolutely love about Aaron and Natalie is they've always been open books. Anytime I've ever had a question, not just when it comes to comps, but like for the show and stuff like that, running with Talking Beards on, on the same network and being a part of Talking Beards, the club, like I've been able to really have great conversations. But this isn't the Aaron and Natalie show, y'all.
Yeah.
Sorry, we like you guys.
If we're talking about bearding, yes, it is.
Yeah. Anytime we talk about bearding, Aaron and Natalie have to come up in the conversation.
Exactly.
So going into, we'll wrap back up and get back over here to Beards on the Rocks for a few minutes. So what is obviously you compete in the long beard categories and whatnot.
Yeah. When I am not a whaler, yes.
When you're not a whaler. But what is your favorite category to watch?
To watch? The women, by far the women.
Whiskerinas are 100%.
Whiskerinas, and if I had to break it down into a Whiskerina category, creative. The ideas and the production that these women come out with sometimes is absolutely insane. Like they have to think these ideas up. They have to put them together. They have to make sure it stays on their face. All we got to do is just be lazy as shit. I haven't shaved or trimmed in 6 years. That's all I had to do to compete was just not shave. They have to be creative with their ideas. They have to, so yeah, creative Whiskerina is my favorite category.
100%. Like as somebody that has always enjoyed that category, this year my wife started competing. So seeing what goes in to it on a firsthand experience, sitting at the house has been a whole different world. I'm like, there is so much that goes in. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah,
Like,
it's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
So I that's definitely one of my favorites to watch as well. I actually really like the comps that are, you know, a little more family oriented, that, you know, seeing some of the kids get out and compete.
Mm-hmm.
I think those have been fun. And they're not like extravagant beards or anything like that, but just seeing the kids get into the community and have some fun has been really enjoyable. And I would like to at some point incorporate a kids category in one of my future comps.
It's fun. Having a kids category is super fun.
I think the Build-A-Beard, or like the beard battle box or whatever it's called, that the kids did at You Matter this past year, that the kids and the adults got in there and played with. I thought that was a really cool setup. I'd love to see that done a little bit more, you know, that are comps that are not necessarily at a bar or something like that, but
where you have the space to do it. And it does take, you know, speaking from experience, you're going to think you have enough space, add about 40% to that space, and then you will probably still not have enough space.
Yeah, no, you're going to run, if you run that many categories, that's one thing I've learned is you got to have the space for it. And definitely make sure.
Well, I'm just talking about the Build-A-Beard category.
Yeah, that place. Yeah, that looks like it's a lot of undertaking.
It is, but it's definitely the instant creativity in that category is. I mean, it's pretty cool to see people use the same 10 objects, and there's not two beards that look the same in any way, shape, or form. So it's seeing how people's minds work is pretty cool.
May have to get there early enough next year at You Matter and see if I can and see if we get in there and have some fun with it as well.
There you go.
So just gonna have to.
I'll be there next year for sure.
Have to cover it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but now, how much have you had with like the helping organization and whatnot for Beards on the Rocks? I know that you're definitely a key player in helping things get organized.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think has been the hardest part about organizing?
The hardest part about organizing is trying to keep Sean on track with all his ideas. Sean is so full of ideas and wants this to be so huge and epic that he goes down rabbit holes. But you know, we have a group chat going on, and we'll all try and just take a piece from him. He'll spit out an idea, and one of us will grab it from him and we'll run with it so that he, you know, can focus on his next idea. That's our tough. And if that's the toughest thing that we have to deal with is deal with Sean and his massive ideas, then, you know, we got a pretty good thing going. But the group chat that we have a lot of experience in comps in that group chat. So we all know our roles. We all know our jobs. You know, even before we made the group chat, it was pretty set in stone what everybody's role during, you know, the lead up to the comp was going to be. So, but yeah, no, we have a fantastic team that's putting it on, and you know, it'll be another great year for 2BU.
And what's been the easiest part so far? Like,
easiest part is I mean, it's all been fairly easy. You know, like I said, we just had, you know, we have Aaron and Natalie helping. We have Ghost from Ohio. We have Ash from Spokane. We have Sean. We have Drea. We have me. So, I mean, the easiest part was probably just dividing tasks, because we all have our kind of our specialties,
right?
You know, as far as what we do. So that's probably been the easiest part is dividing up the work.
That's always good. It's like when you have a team that everybody's kind of on the same page and everybody's got their own strong suit, you know, and being like, okay, we need somebody to cover this. Well, I got that. And that, you know, is like, that's got to be nice to have. And that's something that, with the next comp, I'm going to lean on some people a little bit more that'll be able to help me kind of divide and conquer. Cause like, I'm not gonna lie, I was ready to pull my hair out there for a little while. When I was doing the BWB competition. Sorry, I better rephrase that. So Natalie and Aaron don't come in there yelling at me.
Yeah.
But
yeah, if you try and do it all yourself, you're gonna be so burnt out by comp day that you're not going to enjoy it. And I had to learn that the hard way too. One of the first ones I put on was an online comp, which I thought was going to be easier. It's not.
No,
it's not at all. It's the same headaches. It's the same, everything. You still have to worry about timing. You still have to worry about judges. You still have to worry about prizes. You still have to worry about, competitor numbers. You still have to worry about registrations. It's not easier in any way. And, when we first started doing all these online comps during COVID, people were just uploading videos to, the Facebook event page. And eventually it just got to be a big mess on, for uploading videos. And we would have people that I started uploading my video 30 minutes ago and it still hasn't loaded. And the category is closed and I didn't enter. So it just.
Yeah. And then I would say that, having to mail out, doing an online comp, then you have to mail out the prizes. So that adds an additional cost onto everything. And yeah, I couldn't imagine trying to run an online comp. Like I applaud you guys for going that route to help keep the community, moving in doing a different format for competition. Yeah. But like, I was like, man, I couldn't imagine trying to navigate those waters.
Like it wasn't it's what we had to do
right
at the time. So yeah, was there challenges to it? Absolutely. But we had to do it because we couldn't get together.
Right. So luckily that's, and that's one thing I will say is this year, it seems like the community is back in full swing. Everybody, I've talked to a few people, about this, they were talking about the differences like pre-COVID, post-COVID, and they felt like, the community hadn't really come back as strong as it was before COVID. But I feel like this year has definitely been busier than last year was,
Yep. And I figured that was going to be the case. It was going to take people a year or two to really get back into the swing of things and really want to go out and do the same kind of things. And, because we were all separated from everybody for so long, like it almost is like you have to relearn how to be around people.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I was actually looking at the beard calendar earlier today. It is definitely filling up a lot more. Matter of fact, I got something that's going to be on that beard calendar coming up that I haven't got a chance to make the announcement for, but I will have details on that next week. So if you know, and I'll fill you in a minute once we finish. So,
well, foreshadowing cliffhanger right there.
Yep. All right, man. So we're going to go ahead and start getting kind of wrapped up. Let's go ahead and see. Has anybody got any questions for Jake tonight? I want to just throw it out there. And something I did with Bob Baker, Bob and Elliot, and really enjoyed the communications and the interactions with the people watching. So I'm going to throw it out there as well. Anybody got any questions for Big Jake? Mr. Double J? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
He's kind of quiet tonight.
Maybe I scared them all away.
Maybe. I mean, it's the size.
I contemplated wearing a shirt with sleeves, but I just can't. Sleeves are uncomfortable for me. So we went out to dinner last night. My girlfriend says, "I'm wearing a dress. You can't wear a cutoff." So I'll wear a shirt with sleeves on it. What would you suggest if I wanted to compete in the drunk grandpa category? Hawaiian shirt and some kind of hat.
Yes, you got to get like one of the. You can find them at most of your gas stations, especially right now. It's summertime. Depending on what part of the country you're in, like where are you at, Postman? I can't remember what state.
North
you're
Dakota.
In. Is he in North Dakota?
Yep.
So just about any of the gas stations out there, Quick Stop, stuff like that, you can find like the old like cowboy hats and Panama style hats at the gas station. $20, worth every penny. Yeah. So, and I'm pretty sure he's probably got a Hawaiian shirt somewhere.
I guarantee he does.
He can't fit in sleeves. No, I can see that.
I mean, they're a little tight.
So my biggest part, like I couldn't, like my arms aren't big enough for that. But like also, like, do you shave your arms to keep the hair part off? Like
yes.
gray hairs
from my elbows up, I do. So.
That's always one of the things that, like, big guys, we're, especially hairy guys like us, I'm a little self-conscious about that. Every time I put on the cutoff, I'm like, I'm not going outside like this unless I shave off that part. So
yeah, the arms, I've grown to be okay with the back, but well, chicken wing, you're only 3.5 feet tall. You shouldn't have body hair.
Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't you? You may be older, but you still look like you're 12. So, like, yeah. So I'm gonna bring that up because, like, he made a comment. Him and Yukon were picking at us earlier for being young.
Mm-hmm.
He said, us old folks have our own table. You're still sitting at the kiddie table most of the time, Chicken Wing. Come on now. You got to get a booster seat to sit at the old folks table.
Right.
No.
Yeah, they got their own table because they're eating dinner at 4:00 in the afternoon.
No, I love Chicken Wing to death. He was one of the first people I hugged when we got down to Texas and you met her. So
that is not surprising.
His hotel accommodations weren't the best. We stayed at the same hotel, and our room was significantly better than his.
Oh. So. Well, that's fun. Which hotel did you guys stay at down there?
We stayed at the Oak Motel, like 2 blocks from the venue. We won't be staying there again. That is, it was we booked at the last minute.
Yeah.
Like, and that place wasn't a little sketchy. Like, that place was pretty sketchy. It was funny because, like, it wasn't just us and Chicken Wing staying there. Carrie was there as well. Okay. Snake Lab. And so Carrie was in the room right next to us. And our rooms weren't horrible. Our rooms were definitely dated. Our rooms weren't.
I don't know. That's a great selling point. It wasn't horrible, but
I've heard worse stories about people staying out in hotels on their travels for beard competitions.
Yeah.
So stayed at better motels in the hood. Wasn't it Chicken Wing? You had like stains or something on your bed covers or something like that. I just remember Chicken Wing coming out of his room like, I don't like this.
Yeah. Where was it? Fabs. Was it in Arizona? Or maybe it was, I don't remember. He was telling me a story about a comp one time and they found paraphernalia. And I'm not talking just like your regular like weed pipe paraphernalia. I'm talking like the hard paraphernalia.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Into their room.
Yeah, I think Fabs was telling me about this. They found it all over their bathroom and stuff like that. Yep. I remember hearing that story. He was telling us about that not too long ago, actually. As a matter of fact, we do have a question popped up.
I saw that.
How do you handle not knowing your entire role?
So
are you talking about,
do
you understand?
I'm going to answer it the way I'm interpreting the question, and hopefully it's right. If I'm wrong, Russ, correct me. So early on, when I first started helping with comps, obviously I didn't know as much as I know now. But what I did have in my back pocket was Dennis Morgan, who he had been competing for a long, long time. Him
Yeah,
and
he's an
Shannon
encyclopedia.
were competing for years before I ever even joined. So anytime I had a question, I leaned on Dennis. Dennis introduced me to, other people who then I started asking them questions. And then I met Aaron and Natalie through, the community. And so I've leaned on them. So it's just knowing that, if it's your first time, not having that ego to say, I got this all by myself, knowing that you're not going to know everything and having someone there that can mentor you, someone there that can help you, guide you, give you the answers that you might not know right away.
I will definitely concur with that. That was I did a lot of the planning and organizing and was the main point of contact for the venue and stuff when we did ours. But without my wife and Chris and Corey Wilson and Aaron and Natalie and Amber Coyne and a few others that really stepped up to help, I'd have been lost. Knowing your role is the hard part when you first get into it. It does get easier when you got a great support system.
Absolutely.
And absolutely, Russ, you're always learning. Natalie said it earlier, you learn things every time you do a comp. You learn something a little bit easier or something that you didn't think about when it comes to categories. And that's always the biggest challenge. Biggest thing that I found was the hardest part for me was, and it's going to sound funny, but it's the partial categories.
When to split them, when to not, that's a tough one.
That was probably the biggest challenge, was figuring out, because you never know, because the partial categories are, so you don't always have a full category with that. Everybody goes for full beard, you got 0 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, so on and so forth. And those are your heavy hitter categories. You have a bunch of people in those, but then you get into the partials, your whalers, your goatees, your chops, and then you might get 2 or 3 people in those categories, if you're lucky. Yep. Especially here. I don't know what it's like out there, but here it's always kind of trying to figure out where to do it and knowing who you got coming.
Yeah.
So
we've we typically over here we have a whaler category usually, and then we'll have sometimes and sometimes it's a day of decision,
right?
Where okay, we'll have to ship your trophies to you, because we have mustache trophies, we have chops trophies, we have goatee trophies, and we end up with 5 people total. So
right.
Here's a partial category. So
that's the one thing I will say is I'm loving the fact that we're starting to see a lot more partials come out. Here in the East, we're starting to see more mustache. We're starting to see more goatee. We have a great bunch of guys for goatees, and whaler. Not so much in chops right yet.
Chops is a tough one.
But
yeah,
Beard Mob Tennessee's got Corpse, and
yep.
he's a good chops guy.
He's a great chops. I saw pictures of him from one of the what comp did Scott Turner post pictures? I can't remember, but
was it mine?
I saw,
yeah, because he came out to the one in May. I think memory serves right, he took best in show.
He did as chops, which is crazy.
Yeah, we were very proud to have him, and we had people like Barefoot there, and so we had some great partials, but that was the hardest part for me is when I was looking at it, I was like, shit, how do I put this together? So that and Whiskerinas, as much as I love to see the realistic and the creative, it's hard to know how many women are going to come in there to compete, and then you don't want to have an excess of trophies, but you also don't want to have not enough,
Right. Exactly.
So it's finding the balance. That's the one thing that I would definitely say from the one competition that I've pretty much, started from scratch, and based on what I've seen from other competitions that I've helped with, is that's a real challenge.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. So when you're, I'm looking at the time.
We're over the hour mark. I don't care. So if anybody else has any other questions, we can. Oh, here we go. Ask questions. Watch other comps and be willing to learn. Yep, 100%.
UConn.
So,
absolutely.
I hope that answered your question, Russ.
I mean, I could always shave my mustache back off for a comp. I mean, I'm keeping my mustache short right now. So
there you go. Yep. So the question is UConn, which one are you going into?
I would love to see a UConn chops.
100%.
I would love
100%. UConn, I think that needs to happen for charity.
Yep. Something.
I think that 100% needs to happen. Not a problem, Russ, man. I hope that was, like I said, I hope that was helpful. Nope. Oh, come on.
Simple answer. Come on. I went Whaler.
I keep leaning on Haley. She might even let me shave off the beard part for a short period of time if I do it for charity. Keep the mustache.
There you go.
Do a half beard for. Thought you were going to do one at You Matter. Like, I think he was supposed to actually go into goatee at You Matter. Yeah.
See, that one's, that one I could drop down into fairly easy because I keep my hair really short anyway. So, coming down to that goatee line wouldn't take that much. But I mean, my sides are still fairly long.
I actually just took about 4 inches off mine.
I need to go up to see Nick at the main event and take some length off. So I think it's time. I haven't trimmed it since, other than cutting out some split ends, I haven't trimmed it since 2019. So I've just let it go.
So I just took a new job, and part of the job is going to have me going in and out of food-based facilities. So I'm going to have to put on like a beard net. And so I was already pushing almost 10 inches. And I was like, I think I need to trim this back just a hair and promote some better growth.
See, what you could do is instead of cutting it off, you could grow it out and get, like 30 inches and then you just tie it up and then put it into the
beard knot. Yep. Yeah. Stu was showing me like how he does that. And I'm like, man, I'm going to need like 6 more years for that. I actually think that I go terminal once I get down to about 10 or 11. So I think I hit my terminal length. I don't know if there's a way to push past that one, but so yeah.
No, I don't think there is. See, it's I mean, it's a great idea. It's a great idea, UConn. It's a great idea.
Be a whole different kind of hacksaw Jim Duggan right there.
Yes, it would.
So. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up. Once again, guys, if you are out on the West Coast or anywhere near Washington State, do not miss this competition. Like I said, this year is not in the cards for us, but we're going to add this one to our list 100% for next year, me and Haley. It'll be nice because she's not been back home in a while. So, and you're not too far from Oregon. Nope. Definitely going to try to make that trip. So, all right. But Jake, any final words before we wrap up for the night?
I hope to see everyone on August 5th. Wherever you're at, show up. There's going to be plenty of fun, plenty of categories for everybody, and we just want to raise as much money as we can for 2BU to help them kids.
Come get ship-faced for charity.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, Jake. I'm gonna throw you to the back, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys. I know we ran a little bit over tonight. Thank you for the ones that stuck with us all the way through to the end. I really do appreciate it. If I can't do Hacksaw anymore. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Don't let that deter you. So, as always, guys, got the Independents on. I think they still actually have some of these on the website tonight. So Boston Scully, of course, Bearded Rook for 15% off. If you want to go ahead and get a good deal, always promoting that. I've actually been looking at the new captain line. Oh, Ron Rice will back me up on that. He's been high on the captains for a hot minute now. So if you're looking for a good summer hat, they're definitely a good option as well. Big shout out to Death Grip Vintage Grooming. Levi is honestly, he's one of the coolest cats that I've had the opportunity to get to know, and hoping to get him on the show here soon. So keep fingers crossed for that. See if we can get Levi on with Vintage Grooming. If you guys are looking for something to do this weekend in your area, or if you're looking for more information going on with some of the other comps that are going around for the rest of the year, check out thebeardcalendar.com. They have everything. I think I was looking on there today, and it's all the way. It's at least halfway through 2024 already with dates. So if you guys are looking for something, definitely check that out. As we talk tonight on the show, Beards on the Rock Part 5, Ship-Faced, going on out there in Spokane Valley, Washington, benefiting the 2BU Youth Ranch. This looks like it's a great lineup, and I'm so grateful that I was able to get Jake on here tonight to talk with us about it. Don't miss this. If you get a chance to get out there, do it. Storm and Norman's Ship-Faced Saloon. I love the name alone. This is on our list for next year for sure. Going in the following weekend is Bearded Theater, Beard Mob Indiana. Ron and Cat and Stash and the rest of them have really put a lot of work in working with the historic Crump Theater. It is going to be a great time. You'll see my smiling face up there that weekend, coming out to help support and do some good work in the community, always looking to do good shit. And these guys always do it right. So if you get a chance, August the 12th is the date. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come out and hang out with us for a little while. See, look at that right there. There's a whaler already on the flyer. Yukon, that could be you. Just saying. Whaler, or not Whaler, but a Chops guy right there. That could be you. That could be you right there, buddy. Even kind of has that nice, get that nice little thin mustache going. I think that could be you. So moving forward, Music City Moonshine Classic Part 2, going on September 9th, Beard Mob, Tennessee. They did this so good last year, and they have really stepped their game up this year on top of everything they did last year. There's so much more. If you guys have not made it out to one of these comps in Nashville, definitely do it. Even before the comp, there's something to do everywhere. I would 100% recommend, if you get a chance, hit Manel's while you're in town. If you know, Yukon can back me up. So can Mr. Shannon Klinkenbeard. We went there last year for breakfast the day of the comp, and it was a great time. Big foodies love Nashville is a great place if you're a foodie. Going in past that, I need to get the flyer up. First weekend in October is going to be Big Whisker Revival. That Cincinnati Beer Barons, they always put it on. It's always a great show, and they always kill it raising money for the Barracks Project. I will get that flyer on here. I know I've been saying it, and I just keep forgetting to do it because it's always been a last-minute thing, trying to get all these flyers on. So keeping that in mind. Moving into the following weekend past that, you've got Mad Vikings Monsters Ball. Different time this year. It is the 14th. I think it's the 13th through the 15th in Baltimore, Maryland. This is going to be the last Monsters Ball for quite some time. And they are doing a Monster Mash theme. The costume contest will be on Friday night. And then, of course, the Ram's Head is also hosting the beard competition on that Saturday, and everybody's going to be hanging out. It's going to be a great time. If you've never been to a Monsters Ball, I definitely recommend making it out. If you are going into Texas, Beardapalooza is going on that same weekend as well. So if you can't make it out to Baltimore, I would definitely recommend going out to Beardapalooza. Ian and Bougie always put on a great comp. It's definitely a good way to go. I appreciate that, Chicken Wing. What's up, Thad? Mr. Thor, always good to see you pop in. Chicken Wing 20 to get you 20. There you go. Big Sexy Beard brand. I'll have to throw that out there. Make sure I give my my boys Ghost and Glander some love. But all right, guys, that's going to be the show tonight. Thank you once again for tuning in. I love y'all. Hope to have some great news to share out next week. So keep your eyes peeled. And I got a really cool show coming up in a couple weeks. I can't wait to tease this one out a little bit further. But like always, guys, leave things better than how you found it, and always strive to leave a legacy. Good night.